It is play-in day, ladies and gentlemen. The Bulls will face off in a winner-go-home against the Miami Heat tonight. If they win tonight's game, they'll have to take on the Atlanta Hawks on Friday for a chance to head to the playoffs as the 8th seed taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers. And in this video, we're going to be previewing tonight's matchup, keys to the game, and things to be looking out for in order for the Bulls to walk away with a win. So what's going on, everyone? You're listening to Bulls Central here. Hope you're all doing well. Now, of course, it's easy for one to think that, well, since the Bulls swept the regular season series between them and the Heat, winning all three matchups, two of them being at the United Center and the other in Miami, and all three of them were fairly close matchups and going down to the wire, so you assume, the Bulls should be able to win this one. Well, not necessarily, because none of that really means anything. Because you have to look at this as now being an even series. Doesn't matter what happened in the regular season, the winner of this game advances and the loser goes home. And need I remind everyone that the Miami Heat have beaten the Bulls in the last two playing games, albeit the second playing game. Yes, two very different teams now. Obviously, for the Bulls, you're talking about a much younger team, no more DeMar, Zach, Caruso, while the Heat no longer have Jimmy Butler. Playoff Jimmy is no longer a threat. Now, in my view, this is a very, very winnable game. In my opinion, even trying to be as unbiased as possible, I do think the Bulls are the better team, or at least they're riding into this play-in with more confidence, more edge, as the Heat are still trying to navigate a world without Jimmy Butler and have been very up and down since that trade. But regardless, it's a winnable game if the right things fall in place for the Bulls, and here are the main factors I'm looking at when it comes to the keys for success in this game. Number one, and probably the most obvious, Josh Giddey and his health. In order for the Bulls to win this game, they have to have Josh Giddey fully healthy. Now, at the time of this recording anyway, he is listed as probable, but Josh Giddey did say yesterday that he was going to be playing. So we'll assume for the purposes of this video that he is going to be good to go. But even still, you're going to need Josh Giddey to be 100%. I really don't see the Bulls winning this game. That's not a knock on the rest of the guys on the roster, but if Josh Giddey is not 100% or he's not even able to go out there, it is going to be incredibly challenging for the Bulls to win this game, because Giddey is what makes the offensive engine run for this team, and that's especially the case when it comes to this matchup. We saw Josh Giddey have some of his best games of the season against the Heat. Two of his triple-doubles came against this team. He averaged a triple-double in those three meetings, and what the Bulls have been successful at in going against the Heat this season, which I guess sort of leads me into my next key, is their ability to wear down their opponent, wear down this team with their pace of play. And while the Bulls, generally speaking, play fast even without Giddey, execution in transition has been much more effective when Giddey is on the court. You're going to need Josh Giddey to get those rebounds, push the pace in transition, using his court vision to get downhill and attack the basket himself or kick it out for an open three. I know it sounds crazy to say this, but the Heat could not find an answer for Giddey in the three games they went up against him. Giddey ran circles around these guys on offense. So yes, key is Giddey being healthy and available to play, number one, and two, Bulls have to maintain their up-tempo style of offense. If you let the Heat dictate the pace, they will beat you because the Bulls are not that great in the half court, whereas they thrive in transition and getting downhill before the defense can set. That's where they're at their best. The Heat finished this season 28th in pace in the league, while the Bulls finished second. Use that to your advantage, wear those guys down to where they simply can't keep up in the fourth quarter. Another key to this game is the Bulls must be ready and aware to make adjustments on the fly. What I mean by this is, we all know Erik Spoelstra is one of the better coaches in the league. Like, regardless of where the Heat currently stand and their overall future, he's one of the best basketball minds in the game. And he's excellent in making in-game adjustments and knows how to win these big games with high stakes regardless of his team's seed. Case in point, when the Heat went to the finals just 2 years ago as the 8th seed. So the Bulls have to expect the Heat to potentially switch to zone defense, which the Bulls have had a challenge adjusting to. They also have to expect that Spo is going to go with some weird rotations to keep opponents guessing and on its toes. They should not assume it's primarily going to be the starters versus the starters for the majority of this game like you would typically see in a postseason matchup. Like, if there's one thing I worry about in this game is that Erik Spoelstra is going to outcoach Billy Donovan, which he has done in the last two playing games. And keep in mind, Jimmy Butler didn't play in the last playing game that the Bulls faced off against them, and the Heat still beat the Bulls pretty easily. Now, the other key to this game, while I would argue Josh Giddey and his availability is being more critical overall, Coby White, though, has to be on his A game in this one. Generally speaking, we've been able to rely on Coby to do well in big games, especially in the clutch, but Coby occasionally does still have those stinkers where he shoots 2 for 11 and then starts taking ill-advised shots to try and find his rhythm again. That can't happen. Coby is the team's leading scorer. He's going to be the focus, the Heat's focus on defense. They know he can get hot in a hurry, and because of that, Kobe needs to be locked in, not only when it comes to his own scoring and moving off the ball to get open for threes, but he needs to defer, have quick decision making when he's being doubled in this game, try to draw fouls, which he's been much better at doing this year. Don't let the Heat get under your skin if they're hounding you or if the shots aren't falling. Find other ways where you can contribute to the team and winning. Speaking of drawing fouls, another key in this one that might be overlooked by some, even though I'm not a fan of this because it slows down the overall game, but the Heat are one of the better teams in the league when it comes to not committing fouls. They had the second to lowest free throw attempts allowed to their opponent this season in the NBA. So while the Bulls have been better at getting to the line post-trade deadline, they're not going to find it easy to do so against the Heat, as they are a good defensive team that knows how to deter shots and create turnovers without fouling. Bulls need to punish them in the paint. Make the refs blow the whistle to get easy points at the line and win the free throw game, because on the other end, the Heat were actually 27th in the league in their own free throw attempts. So taking advantage of that and getting to the line more to generate offense that way, especially against a good defensive team, is critical. And then I'm also looking at who are going to be the X factors to this game that maybe aren't quite on the Heat's radar. And the two guys that really stand out to me are Kevin Huerter and Modest Bucelis. The Bulls are going to need Huerter's three-point shooting and his ability to constantly move off the ball to draw the defense's attention away from, say, guys like Kobe and Giddey when they're driving to the hoop. And having Huerter as a legitimate threat from outside and having him heat up from three, like we've seen him do from time to time, is going to be key in how the Bulls run their offense. A secret weapon that will punish you from outside and doesn't need the ball in his hands to be a threat is going to be a nightmare for the Heat if Kevin Huerter can knock down his threes. And then for Modest, I mean, the Heat probably aren't going to be focusing on Modest as much, given he's a rookie, his first postseason level game. They're probably expecting him to be a non-factor or will maybe struggle in a game like this, given the fact that he doesn't have any experience. Modest has to come out aggressive, crash the boards, create for himself, and be another scoring option that the Heat weren't expecting. And then when it comes to the defensive side of the ball, what the Bulls did well at in the regular season against the Heat is force Tyler Herro to take bad shots. And no, I'm not talking about the three when he had a wide open layup opportunity, even though that was a bad shot. But because Herro now feels this is his team, he is their main scoring option, he's going to be throwing up a lot of shots from three, force him into tight spots where he has to take heavily contested shots. He did not shoot the ball well in the first two meetings between these teams. Shot it better than that last game, but the Bulls still played him well in making him earn it. You cannot let Tyler Herro get hot in a game like this, and you most certainly cannot leave him open. Perimeter defense and point of attack defense is going to be critical in keeping Herro at bay. I know defense isn't the Bulls' strong suit, but they are scrappy on that end of the floor when they want to be. For a team that isn't going to be that great on offense, meaning the Heat, fighting for loose balls, getting in passing lanes, reading passes, pushing hard through screens should get the job done on that end of the floor for the Bulls when you're going up against a team that doesn't generate that many possessions, and especially for a team that isn't that efficient on offense, shooting just 46% from the field. I won't lie, I'm a bit nervous for this game. It's the Heat. You can never count them out, especially when it comes to the postseason. Game tips off in just a few hours. I cannot wait. I'll have my post-game video out after this game, so be on the lookout for that. As always, be sure to subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.